So not to let you guys in on like a lot of personal stuff or New Year's resolutions, but my big resolution for this year is to like not make people as mad at me, try and like be more people pleasing. Now, that being said, let me tell you why Patrick Bailey is the third best catcher in baseball. Welcome to The Dugout. I'm your host, Joseph Silva, and on today's episode, we begin a 5-week series here on the show where we are ranking the top 50 players in baseball. We're doing 50 to 41 today, and it's quite simple. If you're making a top 50 list at the end of the 2025 season, what is that looking like? That's the criteria for the list on this one. But before we get started, if you're enjoying the content, go ahead and leave a like. Subscribe to the Run the Play Network. NFL playoffs start in less than a week, and I, for one, would not want to miss the coverage done by the boys on the hot seat. Now, Before
we start, I got everyone Christmas gifts, and I forgot to give you yours for like 3 weeks in a row.
All right. Let's see it.
And yours came first.
Jeff Kent, Survivor legend himself.
I'm going to be honest, I thought it was Matt Kemp. My bad, that's on me. Let's go to the top 50.
All right, let's go to the top 50. And we start with the aforementioned Patrick Bailey as number 50. In 2024, he hit .234 with 8 home runs, drove in 46 runs, .298 on base percentage, .339 slugging, good for a .637 OPS, 81 WRC plus, 22 run value as the catcher, by far the best defensive catcher in baseball. So why am I so high on Patrick Bailey? Why do I think he is going to be the third best catcher in baseball? It mainly starts with the defense, 16 framing runs, 1.85 pop time, leading to an above average caught stealing rate. Is a little bit subpar for blocking, but you can't do it all. And if that's something he's going to work on in the offseason, that just means he's going to be even better. So the upside really comes from the offensive profile. Is if he's an average offensive player, which I think he's going to be an average player this year offensively, I think that means you're going to be number 50 on this list. And there are signs showing that he's starting to get there. The walk rate went from 8.7% to 5.9% from 2023 to 2024. Strikeout rate fell over the same time period. Contact rate went up over the same time period. He's hitting the ball harder. The expected stats rose going into from 2023 to 2024. And I think he underperformed a lot of it last season too. So if he just hits those expected stats and continues to cut down on the strikeout rate, walk a little bit more, I think that equates to an average offensive catcher, and he really ends up in that Yadier Molina tier. Obviously, he's not as good defensively as Yadier Molina. I don't think any catcher ever will reach that tier again, but I think it's going to be enough to put him squarely as number 50 and the third best catcher in baseball. Now, at number 49, my hero, my little Pookie, Yoshinobu Yamamoto. In 2024, he went 7-2 with a 3.0 ERA, good for a 1.29 ERA plus, 1.11 WHIP, 105 strikeouts, good for a 10.5 strikeouts per 9, 2.2 walks per 9, 0.7 home runs per 9, good for a 2.61 FIP. And I think this is the year we're going to finally see Yamamoto adjust to the MLB landscape, which is kind of scary because he was so damn good last year. I know everyone says take away the San Diego start in Korea, take away the San Diego start in Game 1 of the Division Series and look at those numbers. And I get it's a little reductive. Everyone looks better if you take away their worst performance. But it really is true. Like, he dominated in the postseason. He dominated in the regular season. He gets a lot of chases, 31.7% chase rate, and a lot of strikeouts, 28.5% strikeout rate, and the aforementioned 10.5 strikeouts per 9. The splitter, you know about it. It is so damn nasty. Hitters hit 170 against it last year, 236 slugging, 38.6 whiff rate. It is phenomenal. One of the best pitches in baseball. But the curveball was also very, very good, very underrated. Hitters hit 214 with a 371 slug, 33.3% whiff rate. That's a great secondary pitch to complement that splitter. But The fastball was rough last year, to say the least. 262 average, 413 slug, 89.9 average exit velocity, and only a 17.6% whiff rate. I think he's got to find the fastball a little bit more. I don't know if they're going to adjust how they deploy it in the count, pitch usage, location. Something's got to change because the fastball itself is very good. When I saw him in Colorado about 20 rows back from the dugout, it just explodes off the hand. You can hear it in the glove because he was throwing about the same as Sanzatello, who started for the Rockies that night, and it just didn't explode the same way that Yoshi's fastball did. So it's a good fastball. They just have to change up how they're using it, and I think you can expect big things from Yamamoto if they do that. Now, number 48, the only reliever on the list, you know I had to do it. It's Emmanuel Clase. You know how good he was last year. .61 ERA, good for a 6.74 ERA plus. .669 whip, 8 strikeouts per 9, 1.2 walks per 9, .2 home runs per 9, good for a 2.22 FIP, 47 slaves. And quite frankly, he is the best at limiting hard contact in all of baseball. 86.6 average exit velocity, 36 or 3.6 barrel rate, 97th percentile in baseball, 29.7% hard hit rate, 98th percentile in baseball. That's what Clase does so well is, yeah, he's not going to strike you out, but you're not going to hit the ball hard against him. He's a little Mariano Rivera-esque. He is far from Rivera, let me make that clear. But I think that cutter is probably the most apt comparison to Rivera. I know that was thrown around a lot with Jansen, but I think Clase is a lot closer to Rivera than Jansen was. But, you know, he can only add so much value as a reliever. So 48 is about where you can cap him. And two, I want to see if the playoff struggles really affected him, because we know he blew 3 saves in the postseason last year. Didn't look like the world beater he was in the regular season. And a lot of it had to do with usage. He didn't come in to dirty innings. He wasn't used for multiple innings. So that did play a role in it. But I just want to see, can he keep up these otherworldly numbers? I think he can, but I don't think it's going to be as great. Now, number 47, we have the opposite of my beloved Yoshinobu Yamamoto, my Pookie. This man is my most hated player in baseball, but I respect him as a player, so I put him at number 47. That is Carlos Correa. He only played in 86 games last year, but he had a fantastic 86 games. 310 average, 14 home runs, 54 RBIs, 388 on base, 517 slugging, good for a 905 OPS, 152 OPS plus. And it's the big thing with Correa is, can he stay healthy? That's always been the thing with him. He's a bigger bodied shortstop. He lost 2 big blockbuster deals because of the health, the ankle, which has not been an issue surprisingly yet, but it could be a little bit of a ticking time bomb if the medicals from 2 years ago are to be believed. He is still elite defensively, though. 5 outs above average, 78th percentile in arm strength. That's exactly what you want from your premier shortstop, and he's delivering it in spades in Minnesota. He hits the ball extremely hard. All the StatCast numbers are in line with Correa's career norms. Nothing really wrong there. But, you know, the strikeout rate was the lowest of his career. Granted, he only played in half of a full 162, but it's still very, very promising, especially because, you know, he's not swinging and missing as much on breaking stuff. It's really, I'm trusting the guy to stay healthy here, because when healthy, he is one of the 50 best players in baseball. The only argument you can make against him is health, and I don't want to hold that against guys too much because injuries are so hard to predict. So I'm going to put him at 47. Now we got a little bit of a shocker here at 46. I have newly acquired Houston Astros third baseman Isaac Paredes. In 2024, he hit .238 with 19 home runs, 80 RBIs, 346 on base percentage, 393 slugging, good for a 739 OPS, a 112 OPS plus. Now, yes, he's a slightly below average defender at third base. Yeah, there's a lot of swing in but there's not a lot of swing and miss in his game. 17.2% whiff rate, 16.4 strikeout rate. But why do I have Paredes there? And it's 2 words: Crawford boxes. If ever there was a hitter that was going to take advantage of the Crawford boxes, it is Isaac Paredes, man. We all know that man loves to pull fly balls. He is the definition of a pull fly ball hitter. And what happens to be the shortest porch or left field porch in all of baseball? It is those fucking Crawford boxes. It is unbelievable the things he's going to do in that ballpark. And yes, I am putting a lot of stock into that. But if you were just to look at it, if you were to take all the batted balls and put it in New Daikin Park, which it's going to be very hard to get used to saying that, but he'd have 26 expected home runs there. He's got a lot more lineup protection in Houston than he did in Tampa Bay and in Chicago. And I think they're just going to tell him, just go fucking nuts, man. Just pull that ball into those boxes. I think he could hit 40 home runs this year, no exaggeration, if he just focuses on pulling that ball a lot more. Isaac Paredes is going to be a very good player. Do not be surprised if he's near the top of the AL home run leaderboard. Now, I want to tell you about number 45, but more importantly, I want to tell you about our sponsor, Boom Fantasy, right after this.
Man, okay, LeBron hit my parlay. Let's get it. Oh shit, he hit it?
Yeah, bro. Look
I
at this.
won $200. I told you parlay.
How the heck did you win $200?
I used Boom Fantasy. I used their pick and spin, spun the wheel, got 10 times my money.
Bro, you gotta hook me up.
If you use code RTP, you could get a risk-free bet up to $100. Let's get back to the video.
Now, at number 45, we have Detroit Tigers outfielder Riley Green. He came on the scene in a big, big way. In his All-Star campaign last year, he hit .262 with 24 home runs, 74 RBIs, a .348 on-base percentage, .479 slugging, .827 OPS. Good for a .113 OPS plus. And, he's kind of like what I like from hitters. He hits the ball hard. He has a patient approach at the plate. He's about average defensively, but he really is the heart and soul of that Tigers lineup. He and Kerry Carpenter were the really only two good hitters they had, and they were the two main points of emphasis for a lot of those playoff teams. But Green produced. He's just so good. He's young, and he's got so much to improve on going forward. Yes, there was a lot of swing and miss in his game, which is the main reason why I'm kind of holding steady at 45 right now. But if he cuts down on that, I think he is going to be a fantastic player for Detroit. Expect him to be potentially higher if he can cut down on the strikeout stuff. But, I have another outfielder in the AL Central here at number 44. That is Cleveland Guardians outfielder Steven Kwan. In 2024, he hit .292 with 14 home runs, 44 RBIs, .368 on base, .425 slugging, good for a .793 OPS, .126 OPS plus. And quite frankly, you can make an argument between him or Luis Arias as the best contact hitter in baseball because 94% zone contact percentage, 77% chase contact percentage. Yeah, he doesn't have a lot of power. This was his best power season, but he really takes advantage of his scrawny frame as he's 100th percentile and barreled up, which is basically how hard did it go? Is it the max effort you could put into that swing? And he really did that a lot. So I think the power numbers are going to stay about the same. I wish he was a little bit more patient like he was in 2023, but you'll take a little bit more power as opposed to patience with someone with that kind of small frame. And on top of that, an elite defender in left field, 4 outs above average, 4 run value with his arm. He's got a cannon. He's got range. He is just what the Guardians need from their leadoff hitter, just someone to get on, set the table in front of Jose Ramirez, who's going to do a lot of the heavy lifting in that lineup. But that doesn't discount what Kwan does because he's just so good, man. Now, for the second pitcher on the list here, I have a little bit of a surprise because I've been very high on this guy since the 21 season. That's Logan Webb. In 2024, it was a bit of a step back from him. He threw 204 and 2/3 innings with a 3.47 ERA, good for a 1.11 ERA plus, 1.23 WHIP, 172 strikeouts for a 7.6 strikeouts per 9, 2.2 walks per 9, half a home run per 9, and a 2.95 FIP. And the FIP does suggest he's been unlucky. He is a ground ball pitcher. After all, that's where he makes his bread and butter. And Tyler Fitzgerald, if I'm being generous, was a below average shortstop defensively. And with the addition of Adames and Chapman, I think that whole left side of the infield is going to be locked down heavier than Fort Knox. So I think defensively alone, that's going to help his ERA out tremendously. But there is a concern, in his bread and butter hitch for the longest time has been the changeup. 28 run value in 2023 when he finished a runner-up for the Cy Young. This past season wasn't as great for him, and that really was because of the changeup as it fell all the way from 28 to -4 in run value, a whole 32-run swing. And, it's getting hit harder, hard hit percentage, 44% in 2023, up to 51.6 in 2024. Got lucky compared to the expected numbers last year. And on top of that, it lost 4% active spin, 1.2 inches of movement, a lot of that on the arm side. And as a lot of pitchers will tell you, is if your changeup, your splitter doesn't have that arm side movement, it's just basically a shittier fastball. And that's when hitters are going to square up and tee off of it. And that's really what happened with this changeup. So expect him to make improvements and just try and find a new grip or refine the grip he had in 2023 to really get that changeup back on track. So I think he'll be fine. But if you don't see him as a top 50 player or the numbers regress a little bit, look at the changeup, because I think that's what's going to do him in, if anything. Now at 42, we have Boston Red Sox center fielder Jarren Duran. He had an amazing breakout 2024. He hit .285 with 21 home runs, 75 RBIs, 342 on base, 492 slugging, good for an 834 OPS, a 129 OPS plus. He won the All-Star Game MVP. He put up 12 outs above average in center field. He is the best defensive center fielder in baseball. I feel confident saying that. He has made so many strides and improvements in center field, and you have to reward that for him. He hits the ball decently hard, average approach at the plate, but he does struggle a lot with off-speed pitches, so let's see if pitchers start attacking him with that more. I don't think he can sustain his 2024 production. Granted, I'm not saying he's full Jacoby Ellsbury, but it kind of gives me a lot of that Jacoby Ellsbury 2011 production, and then he kind of fell off. So I'm a little hesitant with Red Sox center fielders who come out of nowhere and have an amazing year. But it looks like a lot more sustainable than what Ellsbury does. So I'm going to be a little conservative. I'm going to put him at 42. I think he has a lot of room to grow. I think he can be better, but I'm just hedging my bets a little bit. Let's see if it was a flash in the pan offensively. If he can sustain these numbers, he really is a top 30 player in baseball. I just want to see it for another season from him. And to finish off the 10 we're talking about today, at number 41, we have San Francisco Giants third baseman Matt Chapman. He really returned to form. He loves playing in the Bay Area because this is his best season since he was with Oakland. He hit .247, 27 home runs, 78 RBIs with a .328 on base, .436 slugging, good for a .790 OPS, a .125 OPS plus, 11 outs above average at third baseman. Look, we know he's a former Platinum Glove winner at third base. He is so good defensively at third base. And he really had a lot of opportunities last year as the Giants pitching staff got more ground balls than anybody else in baseball. They knew what they had with Chapman at third base, and he delivered and then some. And quite frankly, he was hitting the ball so hard last year. And the numbers, they don't really show it because he plays in Oracle Park where home runs, fly balls, anything in the air goes to die. But, to put up these numbers, it's still a great season for him overall. And surprisingly, he's a good base runner too. You don't think it by looking at him, but he really is fast, adds a lot of value with his legs. I think he can sustain this a lot going forward. It's a pitching staff made for his defensive strengths. I think he's going to get used to hitting an Oracle another year there. I think Matt Chapman is really going to live up to that potential we were talking about in 2018, 2019, because he's so good, especially when he plays in the Bay Area. But let me know in the comments down below, which of these 10 do you disagree with the most? I know it's Patrick Bailey, but just tell me somebody else, please. Let me know in the comments down below. As always, if you enjoyed the content, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe to the Run the Play Network, and don't forget on the way out. Welcome to The Dugout. I'm your host, Joseph Silva, and on today's episode, we are continuing our top 50 player rankings. We're going 40 through 31 today. Come and yell at me at the comments. I know you guys are going to disagree with this one. But before we get started, if you're enjoying the content, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe to the Run the Play Network. It's wild card weekend in the NFL, and the boys at the hot seat are going to have the best preview in the biz, and I don't think you guys should miss it. Now, we begin the ranking, of course, with the aforementioned Manny Machado, who comes in at number 40, and I swear to God, it's not my anti-Machado bias. I mean, the jersey's right there. His 2024 stats, he hit .275 with 29 home runs, 105 RBIs, a 325 on base with a 472 slugging, good for a 797 OPS and a 120 OPS plus. The big thing with him is he has fallen off hard as a defender. He put up 1 outs above average, his first negative OAA since 2019. And if you look at it too, the arm strength has gone down year by year. Yes, he was injured and you can expect a rebound, but he's 32 going on 33 this season. I don't know how he's going to age necessarily and how it's taken its toll. I think the range is going to be way, way down. And I think you have kind of been seeing it as the outs above average have steadily declined these past couple of seasons. And on top of that, too, the chase contact rate is down every season since that near MVP campaign in 2022. He's been more aggressive at the plate, and it has benefited him a little bit. But if you're not making contact as much when you're chasing, it's really, really hard to sustain this success. And on top of that, odd year Machado is a thing where he's just not great. In the odd number of years, for whatever reason, like even number of years, he's fantastic. He's like that Giants dynasty almost. But the odd years, he just sucks. I think this is when you're finally going to start seeing Machado age poorly. Like, I would not be surprised if he has -3 or even 4 outs above average at third base. I would not be surprised if that batting average dips into the 250s. I know batting average isn't everything, but I just don't think he's going to be the most graceful ager if this is how his aging curve's lurking. I think this might be the last year he ends up in the top 50 players. At number 39, we have someone on the opposite end of the aging curve, and that is Milwaukee Brewers outfielder Jackson Chourio. He exploded on the scene in 2024. He hit .275 with 21 home runs, 79 RBIs, 22 steals, a 327 on base, 464 slug, a 791 OPS. Good for a 119 OPS plus, and put 5 outs above average in center field. And, like I talked about with Machado, the biggest flaw in his game is, he chases a lot, but he doesn't have the contact rate Machado does. As he chases at 31.9% of the time, whiffs 35.1% of the time. But, he still has an average strikeout rate, which is very, very good. I think his bat-to-ball skills can improve a lot, and that's one area I think he's probably working on in the offseason. And, if he starts lifting the ball more, I know you say this about everybody from Vlad Guerrero to Yandy Diaz, but it's true. If he lifts the ball with his hard hit rate, I think he can, absolutely hit 30, maybe even 40 home runs, quite honestly, with how hitter-friendly American Family Field is. God, I hate saying that name. But it's true. I think if he puts the ball in the air more, and I'll even trade a little bit more strikeout stuff for it, he's got a lot of potential. That speed is phenomenal. The defense is great. But, I think he's got to learn to take a little bit better routes, surprisingly, for someone who put up 5 outs above average. Telling him, take better routes is a weird thing to say, but I think he needs to. And you see that in the StatCast numbers. Overall, he had a fantastic season. He's got a lot of room to grow, and I think this is a very conservative estimate for him. At 39... we got Logan Gilbert of the Seattle Mariners. He was 9-12 last year, but wins don't matter. He threw a league-leading 208 2/3 innings with a 3.23 ERA, good for a 1.13 ERA plus. You got to remember, he plays at T-Mobile Park. That place is as hitter-friendly as basically hell is to a Christian. He had a .89 whip, 220 strikeouts, 9.5 strikeouts per 9, 1.6 walks per 9, 1.1 home runs per 9, good for a 3.27 FIP. And you know about Logan Gilbert. He has elite command with great strikeout stuff. That's really his calling card. Pitching deep into the games has been really, really surprising for me, and seeing him lead the league in innings is a huge boon. He doesn't get hit hard that much. 89.6 average exit velo, 39.3 hard hit rate. Some of the best in baseball. Really great stuff from your starting pitcher. But it was all driven by the fact that he threw his slider more than his fastball for the first time in 2024. And coincidentally, it made the fastball a lot more effective. 204 batting average against versus 280 in 2023. 383 slug in 2024 versus a 491 slug. And then the whiff rate went up, 19.3 versus 17.7. And then, more importantly, this was his first season with an above-average ground ball rate in his career. Yes, I understand you don't need an above-average ground ball rate if you're playing at T-Mobile Park, But just to see it shows that it can be a lot more sustainable, and you're not really relying on that marine layer and the confines of your ballpark to keep the ball in. If you're getting it on the ground, getting more whiffs on your fastball, Logan Gilbert has a lot of room to grow, and I think 38 is a perfect spot for him on this list. But somewhere on who we don't know where they're going to go is third baseman Alex Bregman, currently a free agent. Was not the best season by his standards last year, but still a good season overall. He hit .260 with 26 home runs, 75 RBIs, a .315 on base, 453 slugging, good for a 758 OPS, a 118 OPS plus, and he put up 6 outs above average at third. And I think the thing that jumps out to you the most, it certainly did to me, but was that .315 on base percentage. He's been known for his patient approach at the plate. Someone who really works counts, will take his walks. Famously in the 2018 ALCS, I think he walked like 10 times in a 5-game series, something ridiculous like that. So seeing it fall this way is concerning, but if you kind of look under the hood a little bit, I don't think it's that alarming. It's definitely a red flag, but it's fixable. As he had the third highest he saw the third highest percentage of pitches in the zone in 2024, and he compensated by swinging a lot at one of the highest rates of his career, and he made a lot of contact too. He wasn't swinging and missing. He was making contacts on the swings. He chased a lot more because of that, but again, he had the highest chase contact rate of his career. I think if pitchers see that and maybe start trying to go out of the zone a little more, I think Bregman still has the discipline to take those pitches. And even if he doesn't, he's been making contact on them. It's not majorly concerning to me. I think he's going to be just fine. And on top of that, he's a great defender at third. I really don't see that changing. The StatCast numbers have been consistent year over year. The eye test is consistent. And third base, unlike outfield spots, really does not depend on the ballpark you play in. I think he's a fine player overall. I think 37 is a great spot for him. At 36, one of the biggest fallers from 2023 to 2024, and that is Atlanta Braves first baseman Matt Olson. He hit .247 last year with 29 home runs, 98 RBIs, 338, 3 on base, 458 slug, good for a 790 OPS and a 118 OPS plus. And yeah, the counting stats have fallen drastically, but the StatCast numbers are in line with his career norms. But the big thing is he was pressing a lot in 2024 and really needs to regain that patience to regain the success he's had since coming to Atlanta. And I think why he was pressing so much is, quite honestly, aside from Jorge Soler, Marcell Ozuna, we don't talk about on this podcast, he was just not he was the only guy in that lineup, quite frankly. Acuna was out. Austin Riley was out. Albies didn't necessarily have the best season. So really a lot of the offensive load fell to Olson, and he was pressing because of that. So looking at it, Acuna is coming back this year. Riley's coming back this year. Expect both of them to have bounce back campaigns. And I think it's really going to see at Olson, as he's going to be a lot more selective, really just do what he does best. And that's put the ball in the air a lot. I think he'll be fine, but I'm just hedging my bets just in case this is a sign of things to come for Matt Olson. At 35, we have one of the biggest risers. It's Garrett Crochet. Last season, he started 32 games through 146 innings with a 6-12 record, but again, wins don't matter, especially if you're on the historically inept Chicago White Sox. He had a 3.58 ERA with a 1.15 ERA plus a 1.07 WHIP, 209 strikeouts, good for a 12.9 strikeouts per 9, 2 walks per 9, and 1.1 home runs per 9, good for a 2.69 FIP. And quite frankly, he has the best fastball from a starter in baseball. Absolutely dominant. 97.1 miles per hour is what he averages on it, with a 1.2 run value per 100 pitches. And he's going to be pitching more innings going forward. It was his first season as a starter last year. And on top of that, he didn't want to throw that deep into the games, especially without that contract extension from the White Sox or a trade and extension like he wanted. So he's really going to start pitching deeper into games. Don't be surprised if he hits 180, maybe even 190 innings if he's fully healthy this year. And the big thing for me and why I was so high on that Garrett Crochet trade to the Red Sox is Andrew Bailey is a very, very good pitching coach. And if you look at it, his sweeper had a fantastic whiff rate, but it was getting knocked all over the place. I think he's going to make some adjustments to either the usage, the grip, or just the location of it, and really unlock a great secondary pitch for Crochet. And if you do that, you have the next Chris Sale in Boston. Garrett Crochet, I am incredibly, incredibly high on. Big things are coming for him this season, and you've heard it. You're not going to hear it here first. He's second in AL Cy Young odds, but do not be shocked when Crochet goes nuts this year. Now, someone he's going to be facing a lot in that division, though, is catcher Adley Rutschman. He took a step back and not the best way. He hit 250 in 2024 with 19 home runs, 79 RBIs, 318 on base, 391 slugging good for a 709 OPS, 107 OPS plus 0 fielding run value as catcher, which was perhaps the most striking thing, as that was Rutschman's calling card his first 2 seasons. And, it really was. He wasn't as good a framer in 2024 as he was the first 2 seasons of his career. He's still blocking fine, still has great pop time, but let's see if he can start framing pitches well again, because that's really what drove a lot of his value those first 2 years. Offensively, he's walking a lot less. And unlike Bregman, I don't think it's going to be sustainable, because he's chasing more but making the same contact. So he's really got to dial it back a little bit, be aggressive in the zone, and just work the counts like he has been doing. And then he saw more pitches in the zone too, but he swung less and made less contact. Just a weird season from Rutschman that I don't necessarily know what to do with. He has MVP upside. I genuinely do believe that. But if he keeps having seasons like this, he's going to be just an average catcher at best, which is weird to say of someone who had as much hype as he did going into the draft. Just a lot of things need to change for Rutschman. I still have faith in him, but this ranking is me hedging my bets a little bit. At 33, we have the opposite of Manny Machado, and that's Marcus Semien, because he seems to go off in every other year in opposite patterns of Machado, and last year was a down year for him. He had 237 with 23 home runs, 74 RBIs, a 308 on base, 391 slugging, a 699 OPS, which was dead on league average with 100 OPS plus, but put up an otherworldly 19 outs above average at second base. And let's start offensively. As he started chasing more, making less contact, which if you look at the Semien seasons, both the good and the bad, chasing more, making less contact when chasing, that is the hallmark of a bad Semien season. So I think, again, I've been saying this a lot, but a more patient approach at the plate is what he needs desperately. Because for the first time in his career, he had a swing rate of over 50%. And he doesn't have like the bat-to-ball skills or that compact swing that his teammate Corey Seager does that really benefits that plate approach. So he's really got to cut back on that. And I think he is, because he seems to learn the lesson of I got to be patient. And then, oh, cool, then I'm going to attack the zone. Doesn't necessarily work. So he's going to be patient again this year. And then on top of that, he is the best defensive second baseman in the league. You see that in the StatCast numbers. So a lot of this ranking is derived from that fact. Even still, like, he's an average offensive bat with MVP upside. 33 is a nice spot for him overall. At 32, we have the opposite of Marcus Semien, surprisingly enough, and that's Rafael Devers. Last year, he hit 272 with 28 home runs, 83 RBIs, a 354 on base, 516 slugging good for an 871 OPS, and a 139 OPS plus. However, he is an abysmal defender at third base, minus 6 outs above average. And the encouraging thing for him offensively is that his walk rate is over 10% for the first time in his career, while maintaining, those expected numbers and all those red circles we love so much on Baseball Savant, which really shows that he's going to age gracefully, offensively at least, because defensively, he's going to move to first base at some point. I know Tristan Casas is there and Masataka Yoshida is occupying the DH spot, but something's got to give, man. He has gotten worse every single year defensively at third baseman. It's not shocking to me that the Red Sox have been linked so highly to Alex Bregman because they need a defensive third baseman. And if you're looking at it too, it's so much easier to move Casas in a trade and really shore up that infield defense, because I think he'll be average at best first base, but defense does not matter as much from first baseman. Freddie Freeman and Matt Olson don't derive their values as players as some of the best defensive first basemen in baseball. So it's really, I love the bat. I hate the defense. He's consistent year in, year out. He's always going to be 32, 33, 34. Great season from Devers incoming. And at 31, I asked Arizona Diamondback Corbin Burnes. He started 32 games last year through 194 in the third innings with a 2.92 ERA, good for a 1.28 ERA plus, 1.10 WHIP, 181 strikeouts, good for 8.4 strikeouts per nine, 2.2 walks per nine, a home run per nine, and 3.55 FIP. Now the question is those second half struggles we saw with Burnes really who he is? Because in the second half last year, he had a 3.69 ERA, 23 walks versus 22 in the first half, and 43 fewer innings. The question becomes, again, which Corbin Burnes do we necessarily get? Because the strikeout rate has been down every single year from his Cy Young winning campaign. It is now down 12.5% in over a 3-year period. But if you're looking for encouraging signs, the numbers did go up in September. He did have a fantastic playoff start. And it was really due to adjustments he made on his cutter. He said it himself. When he gets into bad funks is when he's trying to spin that cutter too much. And you saw it as that active spin went up 2% from 23 to 24. I think he learned his lesson. He's going to try and hold back a little bit. Chase Field with the humidor is pretty much a pitcher's ballpark and can go either way. I think he should be fine overall, but I'm hedging my bets a little bit. I'm not necessarily as high on Corbin Burnes as a lot of people. I'm not a believer in him, and I think ranking him 31 shows that, quite frankly. But let me know, which of my rankings was the most controversial? Was it Burnes? Was it Bregman? I know you guys are going to say Manny Machado. Come yell at me in the comments. As always, if you enjoyed the content, go ahead and leave a like. Subscribe to the Run the Play Network, and don't forget on the way out, play ball. Continuing our top 50 player series, we're ranking 30 through 21. It's going to be a blast. I know you guys are going to disagree with some of them. But before we get started, if you're enjoying the content, go ahead and leave a like. Subscribe to the Run the Play Network. The best weekend of NFL football is here. The divisional round of the playoffs will be previewed by the boys on the hot seat. I, for one, am not going to miss that episode. Now we start at number 30 with Houston Astros second baseman Jose Altuve. Last year, he hit .295 with 20 home runs, 65 RBIs with a 350 on base, 439 slugging, good for a 790 OPS and a 126 OPS plus. But abysmal defense at second base, -9 outs above average, by far the worst mark of his career. And this is me placing him on reputation, not necessarily on where the skill set is going, because a lot of red flags were raised with Altuve's game last year. He chased more last year and made less contact, 5.2% increase in his chase rate, and his contact on chases fell 8.9%. Just bad stuff from him overall. And it's kind of the hallmark of Altuve is he makes so much contact, he attacks the zone. Really a big red flag. And you see that too in his aggressiveness, as the swing percentage increased 6.4% without seeing like a meaningful increase in his zone percentage or any of that. He was just super aggressive, and he has the swing to be aggressive. But if the contact rate continues to fall like this, I don't see how he continues to put up these kinds of numbers. And overall, he's just a bad defender at second base. Now, it's hard to say that because he really was a good defender for the longest time, but it's just painful to watch him out there. And he can't take a DH spot because Jordan is even worse in the outfield. So you're going to have to eat the defense. His base running is fine, not where it was in the MVP season or the years before that. Altuve is just a pure contact guy. He's Luis Arias with power, and I think that's deserving of a top 30 spot. At number 29, don't call me biased, okay? This proves I'm not. I have Jackson Merrill of the San Diego Padres. In his rookie year, he hit .292 with 24 home runs, 96 RBIs, 16 stolen bases, a 326 on base, 500 slugging, good for an 826 OPS and a 127 OPS plus. And overall, he just has the perfect swing for driving the ball. You can see it in his batted ball data, mainly a lot of the high fly ball rate and line drives. He just hits the ball in the air and lets it do the work from there. And yes, he is super aggressive. He does make good swing decisions. He attacks the zone. He doesn't chase a lot. That was the hallmark of that Padres lineup last year. And he still makes good contact while having a slightly below average whiff rate. I think it's a fine plate approach. If you see your pitch, just be aggressive with it, especially if you can get the ball in the air like Merrill. And then defensively, you can never tell he was a former shortstop playing his first season at center field because he was fan-freaking-tastic. He can improve a lot defensively with his arm, but my God, does he have phenomenal range out there. I don't have the exact number in front of me, but I think he had at least 10 outs above average out there. Just has to hit the cutoff man a little more, and he's a perfect defensive center fielder. And on top of that, a phenomenal base runner too. Look for him to steal a little bit more and be more aggressive next year on the base paths. But overall, he has a very well-rounded and complete game. I just need to see it a little bit more often before I can put him higher, but Jackson Merrill is a great, great player. At number 28, we have one of my favorite players to watch in the league, and that is Cincinnati Reds shortstop Elly De La Cruz. Last year, he hit .259 with 25 home runs, 76 RBIs, a league-leading 67 stolen bases, a .339 on base, .471 slugging, an .809 OPS, good for a .118 OPS plus, 15 outs above average at short. In my unbiased opinion here, I think he's more fun to watch than anybody else in baseball. He is such a phenomenal base runner. It's not just the stolen bases, but it's the crazy first to home times, home to first times. He is a phenomenal base runner, flies all over the base paths, is aggressive in taking the extra bases. So much fun to watch defensively at shortstop. His highlight reel is incredible because you see plays that are tough. He runs, scoops, and then bam, throws a strike to the first baseman to get the out. Beautiful stuff from him overall. But the big thing everyone was talking about with him going into last year was, does the hitting improve? Does he take the step forward, or does he kind of stay where he was in his rookie year? And he did improve a lot as he chased less, walked more, which is what you kind of wanted to see with him. But he still had that very high whiff rate. And it's just due to the fact that that swing's so complicated, is he has to load and reload 3 times as he starts here, and then goes here, and then back down here, all in one motion. It generates a lot of power, and it's a beautiful swing, but it is so complicated that if you don't guess right, or it's not what you expected, yeah, you're swinging and missing. I'm not telling him to change his swing, but maybe get it started a little bit earlier, cut down on the gear up motion, something, just to really cut down on that whiff rate. But besides that, he generates so much power. His range at short is phenomenal, but despite that very long frame, uses that arm strength phenomenally well. He is a fun, exciting player to watch. I hope he takes another step forward, because if he does, man, you're looking at one of the best players in the league. But 28 is a conservative estimate. At 27, we have another one of my favorites, and that's Brewers catcher William Contreras. I sang his praises all last season, and he more than delivered. He hit .281 with 23 home runs, 92 RBIs, a .365 on base, .466 slug, .831 OPS, good for a .129 OPS plus. Just the best defensive catcher in offensive catcher in baseball, plain and simple. He's extremely patient while hitting the ball super hard. The prototypical modern plate approach for a hitter. Yes, he is not great defensively, but he improved a lot from his days in Atlanta, kind of the Brewers catching lab, if you will. He's an average framer, not a great pop time, not a great blocker, but he does enough defensively to warrant a spot on this list just by itself, because it's such a hard position to play as a catcher, especially when you put up these numbers. And believe it or not, these numbers can get better too, because he hits the ball on the ground 54% of the time. My God, if he starts lifting that ball, he might be unstoppable at the plate. He might be the Hulk in catcher's gear, quite frankly. A 54% ground ball rate is 10% above the league average. And of course, with hitting the ball hard in the air, I don't have to tell you, leads to a lot of great things. If he can just get that below 50%, I swear to God, he might be the best catcher in baseball for a long, long time and crack the top 20. Please do it, William. I love you so much. At 26, we have someone I don't love as much because he left my beloved Dodgers. That is shortstop for the Phillies, Trey Turner. In 2024, he hit 295 with 21 home runs, 62 RBIs, 19 stolen bases for a 338 on base, 469 slug, good for an 807 OPS, 124 OPS plus, minus 3 outs above average at short. And yeah, he's improved defensively from his time with Dodgers, but he's still a negative defender since joining Philadelphia. He is just not been what you want, especially the Nationals Trey Turner, who was doing a lot at shortstop. And on top of that, it was the worst full base running season of his career. But it's not because of the sprint speed fell from 100th percentile to the 96th percentile. No, it's because he was just less aggressive on the base pass. And I get it that Philly's lineup was very top heavy and he didn't want to just give free outs away. But I still think, you still need to take some stolen bases. You need to be aggressive taking the extra base. And you still have the speed to do that. So I really looked for Turner to do that more this season. And again, all the baseball savant numbers, all the under the hood numbers, right in line with the career norms. This is about where Trey Turner is every year. I don't see that changing that much. With the base running value, the under the hood stats, he's just really great. The only thing I can suggest is maybe being a little bit more aggressive on fastballs. He was a really great fastball hitter before coming to Philadelphia and really just has not put up those numbers in his 2 seasons in Philly. But overall, very solid, consistent player. You know what you're getting out of Trey Turner, and he's doing quite well. But before we talk about our next player, let's make like AJ and Big Justice and bring the boom and hear the word from our sponsor, Boom Fantasy.
Man, okay, LeBron hit my parlay. Let's get it.
Oh shit, he hit it?
Yeah, bro. Look at this.
I won $200. I told you, parlay.
How the heck did you win $200?
I used Boom Fantasy. I used their pick and spin, spun the wheel, got 10 times my money.
Bro, you gotta hook me up.
If you use code RTP, you could get a risk-free bet up to $100. Let's get back to the video.
And at number 25, we have Arizona Diamondbacks second baseman Ketel Marte. Quite frankly, I'm done underestimating this man. After his breakout in 2019, I'm like, I've watched so much NL West baseball. That's not who Ketel Marte is. After he did it again, I'm like, that's not who Ketel Marte is. After he did it in 2023, I'm still not convinced that's who Ketel Marte is. Well, he did it again, and I'm done saying that's not who Ketel Marte is, because guess what? That is who Ketel Marte is. And who he is was a 292 hitter with 36 home runs, 95 RBIs, a 372 on base, 560 slug, a 932 OPS, good for a 156 OPS, while putting up 8 outs above average at second base. And for a reason I didn't like Marte for a while is I just didn't think he could hit the ball hard consistently. I didn't see that for him in his first couple years in the league, but I'm wrong. He hits the ball incredibly hard and barrels it up at a phenomenal rate. Marte is truly a one-of-one hitter. And his success has mainly been off the fastball. He hit 354 last year with a 684 slug, 21 run value, 3.1 run value per 100 pitches, 61.5% hard hit rate. He bullied that fastball. He punished any pitcher who threw it anywhere near the zone. He is phenomenal hitting that pitch. But if I want to be proven right as a Ketel Marte hitter, I can say, he had the lowest contact rate on chases in his career. It doesn't matter if you're bullying the primary pitchers throwing the league at the way he does. I'm done disrespecting him. He's a great base runner. He's a great hitter. He is a fantastic defender at second base. I am done putting disrespect on Ketel Marte's name, and I think you guys should be too. Now, this one pains me a little bit, but I have Seattle Mariners center fielder Julio Rodriguez in this spot. Last year, he hit 273 with 20 home runs, 24 stolen bases, a 325 on base, 409 slug, good for a 734 OPS and a 116 OPS plus. Still put up great numbers in center field as he had 7 outs above average. He makes a lot of hard contact. That's why you see the expected batting average, expected slug, xWOBA, all that stuff on Baseball Savant looks so good. But it's kind of a little bit deceiving. The barrel rate has fallen every year since his rookie year. The walk rate has fallen every year since his rookie year. And the big thing with me, and I kind of mentioned this in one of the episodes last season, is I'm getting a little bit of Javi bias from him. And I don't want to get that kind of feeling from him because he chases so damn much. He is one of the most free swingers. I get it. Be aggressive, but you're not making contact either, as he makes contact on roughly 53% of chase pitches. The league average is 57.8. You do not have the kind of swing and contact ability to sustain this approach. I get it. You are a phenomenal hitter when you do make contact, but be more selective here. Wait for your pitch and then absolutely tattoo it. The book is kind of out on J-Rod. I think he can still do it. He's phenomenal. Baez didn't fall off till he got his contract. But I am really, really worried about J-Rod's sustainability offensively. Defensively and base running wise, he's an amazing center fielder. You all know that. And yeah, he's a little too aggressive taking the extra base. But again, if he could just rein it in a little bit on the aggressiveness, both on the base pass and at the plate, he is a phenomenal hitter. Top 10 player potential. But I'm hedging my bets with him. I need to see that chase rate come way, way down before I'm pro Julio. But someone who I'm very pro is pro Vladimir Guerrero Jr. of the Toronto Blue Jays. Last year, he proved that 2021 season was not a Mickey Mouse minor league ballpark fluke season. No, he hit 323 with 30 home runs, 103 RBIs, 396 on base, 544 slug, good for a 940 OPS and a 166 OPS plus. But let's just get the bat out of the way. He's not a great base runner. He's got average sprint speed, but a terrible base running value. Bad defender at first base. He's going to be a DH at some point. We all know this. Now let's talk about why Vladdy is so, so good. He is one of, if not the best, pure hitter in baseball. Just that baseball savant page filled with so much red. Hits the ball hard, makes great contact, does not chase, walks so well. He is the best pure hitter in baseball, quite frankly. But, you know, what happened? What changed? Well, he had the highest line drive rate of his career. The big thing with Vlad is, yes, he hits the ball hard, but he hits it on the ground. Well, now he's in a lot of long drives. Everyone knows that highest batting average on balls in play is on line drives. So to see that from him is fantastic. He's not going to be a pull fly ball hitter. I think we have to accept that when it comes to Vlad. But this line drive first approach from him works so well. And it's really what drove his success last season. If he keeps this up, I think he's going to be fantastic again, and he's going to earn himself a big contract in free agency. Now for the most controversial one on this list, I have Tarek Skubal, the reigning AL Cy Young winner, number 22. Now, I don't need to tell you how good he was last year, but I'm going to do it anyways. He made 31 starts through 192 innings with a 2.39 ERA, good for a 170 ERA plus .922 whip, 228 strikeouts, good for 10.7 strikeouts per nine, 1.6 walks per nine, .7 home runs per nine, and a league-leading 249 FIP. Quite frankly, this was the breakout Tarek Skubal season. A lot of people were on to it. I was not one of them, unfortunately, but he is phenomenal. He attacks the zone so well with that fastball, and the breaking stuff plays off of it so incredibly well. He made all the starts. He pitched deep into games for a modern starting day pitcher. He is everything you want from a pitcher. So why do I have him so low? Quite frankly, I just think everyone above him has a higher ceiling or can reach that ceiling a little bit more. I think this is what you're going to get out of Skubal. This is his peak. And don't get me wrong, his peak is phenomenal. I'm not disrespecting him in any way. I just think everyone above him is that much better. There is so much talent in this game for the reigning Cy Young winner, who put up one of the most dominant seasons of the 2020s so far as a starting pitcher, to be this low. It's not disrespect to him. I think everyone above him is just that much better, that much more consistent. If he does it again, he is easily in the top 15. I just want to see him do it again, quite frankly. Now, for the first of 20 players to go up of Tarek Skubal, I have Arizona Diamondbacks outfielder Corbin Carroll. And if you look at the stats, you may think I am a crazy person, but let me explain. Last year, he hit .231 with 22 home runs, 74 RBIs, 35 stolen bases, good for a .322 on base, .428 slug, 749 OPS, a 107 OPS plus at 8 outs above average. I get it. I'm a crazy person. But you have to look at the first half versus second half splits. He was coming off shoulder surgery in the first half, and you saw it. He had a 79 WRC plus in the first half. After the All-Star break, he turned it on. He was that Corbin Carroll who had that electric rookie season in 2023, as he did have a 149 WRC plus in the second half. And it was driven by hitting a lot fewer ground balls, but notably a very unsustainable home run to fly ball rate. So just keep that in mind when projecting Carroll going forward. But again, he's the best base runner in baseball. He's an elite defender in the outfield. He has top 5 potential when he's on his game in MLB. It's just, I don't know where the middle kind of lies in the season. He had the phenomenal rookie year. He had the terrible first half. He had a great second half. But 13% of fly balls being home runs is far from sustainable. So I need to see where the middle is. I think the middle is kind of here for right now. He has a tremendously high ceiling. I'm just hedging my bets because a lot of the success last year or in that second half was driven by the fact that he just got so lucky on his home run to fly ball rate. But I still think he's going to be a pest in the side of National League teams for years to come. But let me know in the comments down below. Did I get the rankings wrong, or was I right for once? Please let me know. If you enjoyed the content, as always, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe to the Run the Play Network, and don't forget on the way out, play ball. Welcome to the Dugout. I'm your host, Joseph Silva, and we are continuing our top 50 player rankings today. We're doing 20 through 11. If you haven't seen the series, I'm ranking everyone based on where I think you'll put them at the end of 2025 in a top 50 player ranking. But before we get started, if you're enjoying the content, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe to the Run the Play Network. It is championship weekend in the NFL, and the boys at the hot seat have been on fire with their predictions. Let them tell you who's going to the Super Bowl this year. Now we start, ironically enough, with a starting pitcher who I think is better than Tarek Skubal, and that is Garrett Cole. Don't let the numbers fool you. It was his first season coming off an injury. In 17 games, he only threw 95 innings with an 8-5 record, a 3.41 ERA, good for a 1.21 ERA plus, a 1.13 WHIP, 99 strikeouts, good for a 9.5 strikeouts per 9, 2.7 walks per 9, a home run per 9, and 3.69 FIP. And yeah, you can see that the injury really affected him. The fastball velo was down, the breaking stuff wasn't really as sharp, and as the year went on, the numbers started to get a lot better. And the big thing with the fastball is it lost a lot of its active spin and thus 2 inches of horizontal movement. But the regular season, I'm not going to say it didn't matter as much because once he was fully healthy in the postseason, Garrett Cole was unbelievable. And he looked a lot like himself. He was throwing hard. He was getting a lot of swings and misses. As someone who watched both his starts in the World Series, we could not hit him for the longest time. There's a reason why that 5th inning was a debacle because that's the only way realistically the Dodgers were going to score off Cole. And I think that's the Garrett Cole we're going to be getting for 2025. He's just done it for so long. He's so consistent. He's one of the last true aces in Major League Baseball. And that's why you have to give him respect by putting him at number 20. Number 19, I know followers of this series have been waiting to hear this name for so long. Well, he's here now. It's Austin Riley of the Atlanta Braves. In 110 games last year, he hit .256 with 19 home runs, 56 RBIs, a .322 on base, .461 slugging, a .703 OPS, good for a .115 OPS plus. And look, I get it. The numbers were way down last year. But if you look at the Baseball Savant numbers, all the StatCast stuff, he's still hitting the ball hard. All the expected numbers are great. The hard hit numbers are great. The barrel rate is great. That suggests a great player who just didn't have lineup protection around him, quite frankly. He thrives because he had Acuna in front of him and Olsen behind him in that lineup. He basically had neither for the longest time, and you just kind of saw it. I think he's going to work a lot on the off-speed pitches that really gave him trouble last year. It's an easy fix because that's something he has been really good at hitting for his whole career. And again, the fastball numbers were way below what was expected of him, but still in line with the 2023 stats, which was a great season overall. He really just got unlucky on fastballs. He just got unlucky in general this year. I'm not going to say that Austin Riley is washed or he's not as good as we thought or he's overrated because of one bad season. If he has it again, then yeah, he's going to tumble down these rankings like a rock off a cliff. But for now, I'm still believing in the talent of Austin Riley. I think at 19 is a fair spot for him. At 18, I got Fernando Tatis Jr. In 102 games last year, he hit 276 with 21 home runs, 49 RBIs, 11 stolen bases, good for a 340 on base, 492 slugging, an 833 OPS, and a 133 OPS plus. But most telling me for me, and what's kind of keeping me from putting him top 15, even top 10, is the defense took in a massive step back last year. He put -2 outs above average in the outfield, and that's coming off winning the Platinum Glove the year before. And you know offensively about Tatis, he's barreling up the ball, he's smoking it, he's hitting it incredibly, incredibly hard. He makes a lot of contact. He's Fernando Tatis Jr. at the plate. I don't feel like I have to justify his hitting to you. We all know how good he is. But for me, the defense was concerning. He really looked good playing right field at Petco in 2023. I don't know what realistically happened in 2024. I hope he can kind of get that back because the arm strength and the value, that didn't go away. It looked good as per usual, but the range was so bad. It's just bad overall. And then he's not as aggressive on the base as year before. I get he's made of glass and breaks very, very easily. But it doesn't matter. You should still be aggressive on the base paths. And I think that's something he's going to be this year, is a little more aggressive, take the extra bases a little bit more, steal a little bit more after seeing the success that Acuna and Ohtani had as elite power speed guys. With Acuna going 40-70 and Ohtani going 50-50, I think Tatis is going to steal a lot of bases this year. Overall, I don't think the defense was as good as it is in 2023 or as bad as it was in 2024. I think it's somewhere in the middle. I think the base running is going to catch up to where it is for him normally. I think he's 18 is a fair spot for him. This next one pains me, though. It's got to be Mike Trout at number 17. Look, I love the man. I'm a Dodgers fan who goes to any Angel game at least once a year to go see Mike Trout and really appreciate him while we still have him. I just don't know how much longer we're going to still have him. In 29 games last year, he only hit 220 with 10 home runs, 14 RBIs, a 325 on base, 541 slug, good for an 867 OPS and a 140 OPS plus. Now, the big thing that gives me optimism about Trout is he's finally moving off of center field. He's going to be playing a corner outfield spot, which, thank God, center field has just been too much on his body. It's been really what's causing a lot of the injuries, and the corner outfield should help improve his longevity. I would say maybe a move to DH might be imminent at some point just because of the back issues that he has. But Soler is clogging up the DH spot for the time being. And, you know, he really changed his approach last year from what we know as Mike Trout, spray the ball everywhere, hit the ball hard, line drives. He said, nah, I'm going to pull some fly balls. And guess what? 10 home runs in 29 games is a fantastic pace. That's a 50 home run pace from Mike Trout. He can do it all, quite frankly. Yeah, he's still not fast anymore and aggressive on the base pass. The defense, I think, is going to be fine. Average to slightly below average in a corner spot. But he does so many things so well. Is if you look at him in his prime, every season he did something differently. And now the new approach of pulling fly balls leads to a lot of home runs. And that's just him doing something differently. And he's got the bat-to-ball skills to make it work. He's got the power to make it work. I just want him to be healthy, man. Everybody in the baseball world wants him to be healthy. And I think, hopefully, this is the year that he's healthy, but I'm hedging my bets. He has top 10 potential. He just doesn't have the health of a top 10 player. Now, this one hurts me even more. I put Freddie Freeman at 16. Look, I love the man. He did so much in the World Series for us, and I will cherish everything he did. But 2024 was not the best Freddie Freeman season. He only hit 282 with 22 home runs, 89 RBIs, a 378 on base, 476 slugging, good for an 854 OPS and a 143 OPS plus. And the big thing for him is he was just a lot less aggressive on meatballs. Tellingly so, is he only swung at 83.5%, which, it's 83.5%. That's a high number. But it was still the lowest mark of his career. The expected numbers were the lowest of his career. He did not have the usual command of the strike zone as he did. Yes, the walk rate went up, but the swing decisions were not as great from him. He chased a little bit more, was a little unsure on the edges. And that's kind of what's drawing it for me is, yes, the bat to ball skills are incredible. He has maybe I shouldn't say the highest contact. The highest contact grade that matters, because Luis Arias can't hit the ball past the infield for shit. Let's be real here. But he has the highest contact skills that matter in baseball. But he's starting to lose a little bit of that command of the strike zone. Do not be surprised if the strikeout rate goes up or the walk rate goes up. I hate to say this, but this might be the last truly great Freddie Freeman season here. Yes, he's still good at defensively at first base. Yes, he is still one of the smartest base runners in baseball. But the hit tool is going down slowly and slowly. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm hedging my bets in case I'm not. Now at 15, we got Paul Skeens, man. He is must-watch television. He single-handedly is bringing the starting pitcher back. And with numbers like these, you're going to see why. In 23 starts last year, he threw 133 innings with an 11-3 record, a 1.96 ERA, good for a 2.14 ERA plus. The man prevented runs twice as good as an average pitcher in MLB, so keep that in mind. He had a whip under 170 strikeouts, good for 11.5 K per 9, 2.2 walks per 9, less than a home run per 9, 2.44 FIP. The man is unbelievable. And we all know about the Splinker combo. The fastball they hit 230 against with a 351 slug, and I get the whole, well, he doesn't have the IVB of an elite fastball. It just goes fast. But guess what? 100 miles an hour is 100 miles an hour. Anyone struggles to hit 100. I don't care what your IVB is. Ball go fast. The Splinker plays so beautifully off it. Baseball Savant has it as a sinker. I think of it more as a splitter. Overall, doesn't matter. Hitters hit 184 against it with a 234 slug. My God, is that a beautiful pitch. And guess what? He's still got one more pitch that's a little underrated, and he might even throw it a little bit more to keep hitters guessing. Because the sweeper, he didn't throw it that often, but my God, hitters swung and missed 45.8% of the time. Unbelievable stuff from Skeens overall. I think the Pirates are going to take the governor off him, let him go 6, maybe even 7 innings more consistently. He is the Cy Young favorite in the National League for a reason. He started the All-Star game for a reason. He went number 1 overall for a reason. He's dating Livy Dunn for a reason. And that's because he has the best stuff in baseball. He has some of the best command in baseball. Overall, he's the second best pitcher in baseball. He is must-watch television. If you have a chance to see Paul Skeens this year, do it. Because he's good. This year he's going to be great. He's going to be even better in the future. Get on the train now. But before we talk about our next hitter, who brings the boom, let's hear a word from our sponsor, Boom Fantasy.
Man, okay, LeBron hit my parlay. Let's get it.
Oh shit, he hit it?
Yeah, bro. Look at this.
I won $200. I told you, parlay.
How the heck did you win $200?
I used Boom Fantasy. I used their pick and spin, spun the wheel, got 10 times my money.
Bro, you gotta hook me up.
If you use code RTP, you could get a risk-free bet up to $100. Let's get back to the video. You could get a risk-free bet up to $100. Let's get back to the video.
Now, at number 14, we got one of the best power hitters in baseball. That's Yordan Alvarez of the Houston Astros. Last year, he hit 308 with 35 home runs, 86 on RBIs, a 392 on base, 567 slugging, good for a 959 OPS and a 172 OPS plus. What can you say about Yordan, man? He is by far one of the best hitters in baseball. There's not a hole in that swing. There's not a weakness in the hitting game overall. And guess what? Surprisingly, year over year, he's getting better because the strikeout rate was high his rookie year. Now it's one of the best in baseball. It just keeps falling year over year over year while the numbers continue to stay this good. Yordan is the best pure hitter in baseball. There's no arguments about it. He's got power. He's got contact. He does not strike out. He's got a good eye. But we all know the downside about him. He is a shitty left fielder. He's a shitty right fielder. He cannot defend worth a damn. He is like your antivirus software you get for free. Does very little in defense. But because of that, he doesn't get that much value from DH. There's a reason why everyone was salivating over the WAR Ohtani put up as a DH, because it's hard to put up a lot of WAR and value as a designated hitter. 14's about where he can cap as a DH. So don't get it wrong. He's still a fantastic player, but if he's not going to play the field, he's not going to offer that much more value overall. Tony Watson's still better. I'm sorry. Now at 13, we have Corey Seager. Last year, he hit 278 with 30 home runs, 74 RBIs, a 353 on base, 512 slug, good for an 864 OPS and a 145 OPS plus. But one of the things that people said a lot about Corey Seager is he's going to move off shortstop, that big body's not going to age well. Well, he's over the 30-year-old hump, and he put up 5 outs above average at shortstop. I've been someone who watched Corey Seager on the Dodgers from 2016 to 2021. He's done a lot for me, but he wasn't necessarily the best defender. He never put up elite numbers with the Dodgers as a shortstop. But to see him go to Arlington and just put up great defensive numbers shocked even me, who is one of the biggest Corey Seager fans out there. Great stuff for him overall. And at the plate, he continues to be what I like to call selectively aggressive. As you know, he swings at the first pitch more than anybody. He swings over half the time, but he doesn't chase that much. He will attack the zone like nobody else. And he has a smooth swing, a consistent swing, the type of swing that really rewards that kind of plate approach. I love what Corey Seager does at the plate overall. And, the only thing that kind of keeps him out of the top 10 is the base running, but we always knew of that about Seager. But overall, an aggressive shortstop at the plate with the contact numbers to back it up with great defense. That is a fantastic player in Major League Baseball. He's a 2-time World Series MVP for a reason. The Rangers gave him that contract for a reason. He's just one of the best in baseball. And at number 12, the best starting pitcher in baseball, in my opinion, is Zach Wheeler. He is what the modern starting pitcher should be. In 32 games last year, he went 200 innings with a 16-7 record, a 2.57 ERA, good for a 158 ERA plus, a whip under 1, 224 strikeouts, good for a 10.1 strikeouts per 9, 2.3 walks per 9, 0.9 home runs per 9, and 3.31 FIP. And he's that perfect blend of pitching deep into games for the modern day. Yes, he always goes 6-7 innings per start, yet he still has great strikeout stuff, really good at limiting hard contact, limiting runs. And he's been doing it every year since he's come to Philadelphia, quite frankly. He's been consistent in that city overall, really great. And he could still get a little better. The curveball was not the best, but the fastball sinker combo really carried him a little bit. If the curveball gets to 2023 or 2022, Zach Wheeler, oh man, he's going to finally capture that elusive Cy Young overall. But why he's the best starting pitcher for me is he's consistent, doesn't have injury concerns, will always give you 200 innings, always have a strikeout rate over 10, always have a sub 300 ERA. And that's kind of what you want from the modern starting pitcher. And until others can show they can do that more as consistently as Wheeler has, there's no reason why I don't see him being the best starting pitcher in baseball. As we talk about Skeens being must-watch TV, go watch some Zach Wheeler because he's not that far behind in my opinion. And at number 11, don't let the name fool you. Don't let the lack of aura fool you. Kyle Tucker is pretty damn good at baseball. In only 78 games last year, he hit 289 with 23 home runs, 49 RBIs, 11 stolen bases, a 408 on base, 585 slugging, good for a 993 OPS and a 181 OPS plus. He put up an out above average in right field. Wrigley should be a little bit easier than Houston's right field, but you're not talking about Kyle Tucker for the defense. You're talking about him being such a good hitter overall. Great bat-to-ball skills, underrated power. He put up, I want to say like 4.2 WAR in 78 games. That's basically on the pace of Gunnar Henderson, Witt, Ohtani. He had a fantastic season overall, and not a lot of people talk about him because, to be honest, like what is there to talk about? Is we talk about Corey Seager being selectively aggressive. He's even more, he's just selective and punishing because he doesn't swing that much in the zone. He's just looking for one pitch in particular, and then he's going to do damage on the pitch. And not to mention, he still has great command of the strike zone. He's got underrated power. He pulls slide balls a lot. He does everything well as a hitter while being a good base runner and being a good defender. The numbers may be a little bit down. You're not really playing in Houston anymore. But Chicago and Wrigley Field is still a good ballpark for him in terms of the hitting. I think he's going to be a fantastic player. He's going to earn himself a lot of money this year. Put some respect on Kyle Tucker's name and put some respect on this list. Let me know in the comments down below, who do you disagree with the most? Don't yell at me for Austin Riley. Don't yell at me for Paul Skeens. Yell about Fernando Tatis. Be a little unique down there in the comments. If you enjoyed the content, go ahead and leave a like. Subscribe to the Run the Play Network. And don't forget on the way out, play ball. Who's number one? Who could it be? It's Shohei Ohtani. But stick around for the rest of the list. I promise you it's interesting. Welcome to the Dugout. I'm your host, Joseph Silva, and we are at the finale of our Top 50 Players series. We're going 10 through 1. We know who number 1 is, but who's 10 through 2? We're going to have to wait and find out. But before we get started, if you're enjoying the content, go ahead and leave a like. Subscribe to the Run the Play Network. It's almost the Super Bowl, and let the boys at the hot seat preview this incredible matchup for you. Now, we start at number 10 with Jose Ramirez. Everyone in the analytics community has been telling you for a long time that Jose Ramirez is the best third baseman in baseball. But people said, no, it's Machado. No, it's Austin Riley. No, it's all these different players. That's not Jose Ramirez. Well, guess what? It's Jose Ramirez. It's always been Jose Ramirez. Last year, he hit .279 with 39 home runs, 118 RBIs, 41 stolen bases, 355 on base, 537 slug, good for an 872 OPS, 143 OPS, plus he put up 3 outs above average at third. Yeah, that's right. Ohtani got all the headlines for going 40-40 with a walk-off grand slam, and then he went 50-50 with the best offensive game in baseball history. But Jose Ramirez was 1 home run away from joining the 40-40 club. I feel like it did not get talked about as much. And yeah, the 3 outs above average was the worst defensive season of his career, but it's still a pretty good defensive season overall. But overall, base running wise, he was the best base runner he's ever been. Yeah, a lot of that was driven by the stolen bases, but he's still good at taking the extra base as well. And arguably, this was the best offensive season of his career. He had a lot of power while maintaining a good average and a good on base. And he's been trading that patient approach for more barrels, and it's been working out for him. His progressive field is not a hitter's park by any means, but he's still finding a lot of gaps, hitting a lot of home runs. He's been a phenomenal player overall, except for the one time he decided to pull everything in 2018. Do not sleep on Jose Ramirez. He is so damn good. I love him so much. Best third baseman in baseball. At number 9, we have Francisco Lindor of the New York Mets. He hit .273 with 33 home runs, 91 RBIs, 29 stolen bases, good for a 344 on base, 500 slug, 844 OPS, 138 OPS plus, and 16 outs above average at shortstop last year. Again, he's one of those that everyone is telling you, Francisco Lindor is so good. You got to believe in Lindor, man. The hit tool finally caught up to where the defense is, because defensively, he's put up 10 outs above average in every season of his career except 2. And he's improved his barrel rate every season since coming to New York, while maintaining a strikeout rate below 20%, is the bat has finally caught up to where the defense is. And that's good because that defense is phenomenal. It was a big move from Mendoza to put Lindor in the leadoff spot when he was struggling, and Lindor rewarded him and then some. He had so many clutch hits for the Mets. But on top of that, he really just was a consistent table setter for the Mets. I think with the presence of Juan Soto in that lineup, he's just going to get better and better. I think Lindor is fantastic. Stop saying he's overrated. If you keep saying it, he's going to keep being underrated. And that's weird to say of a top 10 player in baseball. Just put some respect on his name. At number 8, we got Bryce Harper, man. 285 average last year with 30 home runs, 87 RBIs, a 373 on base, 525 slugging, good for an 899 OPS, 149 OPS plus, and 8 outs above average at first. I get defense doesn't matter at first as much as other positions, but 8 outs above average is still fantastic defense from him overall. He put a lot of work and effort to master the position, and it's paying off for him and then some. But offensively, you know what Bryce Harper does. he smashes the ball. He hits it incredibly hard while walking over 12% of the time. And here's the thing about Harper. That 30 home runs number, it's a great number, but it doesn't tell you that he went a whole month without hitting a home run. So look for that home run number to get even better, which is scary because 30 home runs is 30 home runs with a 12% walk rate. He is a phenomenal player. He's kind of showing everyone why it was stupid to not offer him the contract the Phillies did. He might have one of the most team-friendly contracts in the league, which is weird because he's getting like $350 million. But that's just how good Harper is. He brings so much respect to this Phillies team. He's the reason why they went from the laughingstock for the longest time to legit World Series contenders for the past 3 years. Harper is so damn good. I'm glad we finally stopped saying he's overrated. Now we got Mookie Betts here at number 6. It is weird to put him at the best shortstop in baseball. Let me just be honest with you about it. But the numbers back it up. In 116 games last year, he hit .289 with 19 home runs, 75 RBIs, a .372 on base, .491 slugging, .862 OPS, good for a .145 OPS plus. He excised his postseason demons. Overall, he is Mookie Betts, man. But the big question for him is a couple things, actually. But how does he adjust to playing shortstop? He was kind of thrown into the fire last year in spring training. Roberts announced that him, not Gavin Lux, would be the team shortstop for the season. And he responded by putting him up -4 outs above average. Had a lot of difficulty moving towards first base in the range factor. A lot of throwing errors. Now he has a full offseason to prepare. Does he get the numbers up to be even an average shortstop defensively? Or are the Dodgers going to have to try and find a solution because he just doesn't have the speed anymore to be a corner outfielder? The range is way down for him in right. He still made a lot of great plays in right last year, don't get me wrong, but the middle infield is where he's going to be. The question is, do we have to move Tommy Edman to short at some point, or can he hold up overall? The other big question is the sprint speed has been down year over year. It is down tremendously. But can he still continue to add value with his legs, be a smart base runner like Freeman? He did it last year. Let's see if he can keep doing it up overall. He didn't barrel the ball up as much this year as previous years, but continued to spray the ball all over the field. Gets that barrel rate up. He's going to still be a good hitter. Overall, he's just Mookie Betts, man. He is the underrated superstar of the 2010s because Mike Trout overshadowed him. Now he's being overshadowed by Judge, Ohtani, and all these phenomenal players coming up behind him. But he's still a first ballot Hall of Famer for a reason, and this is an appropriate spot to put him. Now at number 6, this is the player I probably have the most trouble ranking, and that is Braves outfielder Ronald Acuna Jr. He only played 49 games last year, and they were not a good 49. He only hit .250 with 4 home runs, 15 RBIs, 16 stolen bases, a .351 on base, .365 slugging, good for a .716 OPS and a .101 OPS plus. And the big thing with him is he going to continue to be as aggressive as he was? He's coming off a second ACL surgery. So you're looking, is he going to make those highlight plays in the outfield? Is he going to be that electric base runner that draws so much attention the second he gets to first base? Is he going to take the extra bases with reckless abandon like he did before? Or is he going to be a lot more cautious? Is the speed going to be gone? Can he not back it up the way he was before? That remains to be seen. Offensively, though, he is still patient as hell. And yeah, the strikeout rate jumped 2023 to 2024. But let's be honest, it was a mirage anyways. It was way below his career norms and then shot up the next year. I don't expect him to put up the strikeout rate he did in his MVP season. The barrel rate was, again, a career worst in 2024, but he still hits the ball incredibly hard. He still barrels up the ball 10% of the time. That's a fantastic hitter. No ifs, ands, and buts about it. 6, I think, is a right spot for him. I don't think he's going to steal 50 bases in a season ever again. I don't think he's going to make those electric plays in the outfield ever again, but he's still going to be good for 30 home runs a year. He's still going to walk about 10% of the time, and I think that's tremendous value from Acuna. And if he continues to be aggressive, my God, is he going to be scary for a long, long time. But before we get started with the top 5, let's hear a word from our sponsor.
Man, okay, LeBron hit my parlay. Let's get it.
Oh shit, he hit it?
Yeah, bro. Look at this.
I won $200. I told you parlay.
How the heck did you win $200?
I used Boom Fantasy. I used their pick and spin, spun the wheel, got 10 times my money.
Bro, you gotta hook me up.
If you use code RTP, you could get a risk-free bet up to $100. Let's get back to the video.
Now, at number 5, we have a player that I've always been very high on, and that's Baltimore Orioles shortstop Gunnar Henderson. Last year, he hit .281 with 37 home runs, 92 RBIs, a .364 on base. He had 21 stolen bases, a .529 slugging percentage, good for an .839 OPS and a .159 OPS plus. And from his rookie year to his sophomore, he really grew as a hitter. Strikeout rate went down, walk rate went up while continuing to hit the ball extremely hard. And the home run numbers should go up a little bit more now that the Great Wall of Baltimore is moving in a little bit more. So the power can be even better, but I'm not fully banking on it just yet. But the thing that kind of concerned me a little bit is before the All-Star break, he had 7 outs above average at shortstop. He finished with 0 outs above average at shortstop for the year. So he just went through a defensive slump, or was the 7 outs above average a mirage? That is wait to be seen. I'm kind of betting on the fact that he is going to continue to be a good defender at shortstop. He did have a good defense tool in the minors. I trust Gunnar Henderson to be a great shortstop defensively. And overall, he just has such a well-rounded game. Great contact, great speed, great defense, great power. He's just a great hitter overall. Gunnar Henderson, I love him so much. Let's hope him and the O's can have some success this year. At number 4, we have the $700 million man himself, Juan Soto. He earned it, though, last year, hitting .288 with 41 home runs, 109 RBIs, a .419 on base, .569 slugging, good for a .989 OPS and a .178 OPS plus. Let's just get the negatives out of the way. Yes, he's a crappy defender. Yes, he's a shitty base runner. Yes, he's going to have to move to DH at some point. But he has a decent arm out there on right. He had a 3-run value with that arm. He'll gun you down if you're not ready for it. But you're not paying Juan Soto to gun people down in the outfield. You're paying him because he has the best eye in baseball. He walked 18.1% of the time. Soto shuffles the hell out of people. He will not budge. The pitch could be here. The strike zone could be here. He's not moving that bat. He is phenomenal with his command of the strike zone. He has great bat-to-ball skills. He has a lot of power, which can only get even better as he starts to enter his prime. Juan Soto is phenomenal. He just can't be higher because the 3 people above him have even better skill sets. But do not sleep on Juan Soto. The Mets gave him that money for a reason. The offense is not going to dip that much at Citi Field, despite what you might think about the short porch and left and in right at Yankee Stadium. He's still going to be fine. He's Juan Soto. He's great. At number 3, we got Bobby Witt Jr., man. What can you say about him? Keep in mind, these are the stats of a player who did not win MVP. Because last year, he hit .332 with 32 home runs, 109 RBIs, 39 stolen bases, a .389 on-base percentage, .588 slugging, good for a .977 OPS, a .171 OPS plus, with 16 outs above average at shortstop. And let me remind you, when I was talking about Francisco Lindor being the best shortstop in baseball, he also had 16 outs above average at short. He's an incredible base runner, not just because he has the fastest sprint speed in all of baseball, but he will steal bases like most anybody else. He is super aggressive with that speed on the base paths, and it pays off because he is successful in taking the extra base a lot of the time. Yes, he chases a lot, but he pays dividends because he hits everything. He hits everything super hard. He is the most well-rounded player in baseball. He doesn't have the godly tools of the top 2, but put together, he has a super complete game. He is the prototypical modern baseball player. He's just not as good as the top two, which really speaks to the quality of talent in Major League Baseball. If someone who put up that kind of season could not win MVP, someone who put up that kind of season cannot even crack the top two, that just shows how damn good the top two are. And of course, we got to get started with Aaron Judge, the man who beat Bobby Witt Jr. in that MVP race, as he hit 322 last year with 58 home runs, 144 RBIs, a 458 on base, a 701 slugging, good for a 1159 OPS and a 223 OPS plus. That is a better OPS plus than when Aaron Judge broke Roger Maris's home run record in 2022. Do you know how insane that is to have a better OPS plus than when you broke the fucking home run record? Judge is unbelievable. And how did he improve upon it, quite frankly? Because that was considered to be the apex of who Aaron Judge was as a player. And quite frankly, it's because he got super selective. He had a below average zone swing rate, meaning he was not swinging that many pitches in the zone, but he compensated for that by swinging at basically every meatball that was thrown his way. There's a reason why people were criticizing Judge for being a middle merchant, because he sat middle, and he punished anything that was middle. He has the best power of anybody in baseball. And the defense, I think, is finally going to take a step forward back to where it was when he came onto the scene. He's taken a corner outfield spot with Bellinger taking center field. Let's just hope he doesn't drop the ball again. But that's where he's better suited to play. It's better for his body long term, less ground for him to cover. I think Judge will be fine as right fielder once again. And overall, he's just so damn good, man. We didn't think he can improve upon 2022. Well, he just did that. I don't think he can improve upon 2024. But again, if he even stays anywhere near this ballpark, he is still going to be a fantastic hitter and one of the best players in baseball. But he's not going to be the best player in baseball. Because I think deep down when we started this series, we all knew who was going to be number one. I spoiled it for you in the intro. It's Shohei Ohtani. It's always been Shohei Ohtani. It's always going to be Shohei Ohtani as long as he's pitching. And guess what? He's going to be pitching this year. Last year, he won the MVP as a DH, hitting .310 with 54 home runs, 130 RBIs, 59 stolen bases, a .390 on base, 646 slugging, good for a 1036 OPS and a 190 OPS plus. As a pitcher in 2023, his last full season before he got Tommy John, he started in 23 games through 132 innings with a 3.14 ERA, good for a 1.42 ERA plus, 167 strikeouts, good for 11.4 strikeouts per nine, 3.8 walks per nine, 1.2 home runs per nine, and a FIP of 4 even. And guess what the Dodgers do? Is they take bad starting pitchers, make them good starting pitchers. They took good starting pitchers, make them great starting pitchers. Now they have a bunch of great starting pitchers. They're going to make them excellent starting pitchers. They were willing to coach Ohtani and kind of tell him like, hey, fix this, do this as a hitter. And he put up the best hitting season of his career. He put up the best hitting season a DH has ever put up. You do not put up the kind of war Shohei did as a DH. It should be impossible. It should be impossible to win MVP as a DH. But he did it. He is going to monopolize the MVP in the National League. I know people are saying it's going to be the greatest MVP race in National League history. Bitch, that MVP trophy has his name engraved on it as long as he's pitching. And he should be pitching for at least another 2 to 3 seasons. What is there to say about him? He's more aggressive on the base pass. He's got tremendous power. He has so many great swing decisions. He's Shohei Ohtani. There's a reason why Fox put the 3 batters away, X batters away graphic. He's must-watch television. He's making a case to be the greatest player in baseball history. Go watch Shohei Ohtani. Go appreciate Shohei Ohtani. He is always going to be number one on lists like this going forward, as long as he continues to be a two-way player. And I, for one, am looking forward to his first two-way season in Dodger Blue. But let me know in the comments down below. Am I too much of a homer for my Dodgers? I'm not, but let me know. If you agreed with the rankings, also let me know. If you disagreed, also let me know. If you enjoyed the content, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe to the Run the Play Network, and don't forget on the way out, Play ball.